Hello, Jason. Long time no see. How
Been a
are
while. Hi,
you?
Gidon. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm seeing your WhatsApp messages and your Facebook videos and probably other stuff. Oh boy,
Trying to stay busy.
how are you?
I'm doing well. Did you enjoy the videos? Did you enjoy the content?
No, not that I didn't like them. I just didn't get a chance to enjoy them.
I know it's Rosh Hashanah time. I'm putting them out because I wanted to record them, but I know people are running around crazy.
Yeah, I really should take a peek at this. Sometimes I take a peek at them, but I have a read sometime folder in my inbox with about 500 things,
Yeah.
and that's only from about I don't know 5 months ago or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I've been getting requests for people to say, can you make some beginner courses and can you give some beginner ideas out there? And I'm teaching about maybe 5 or 6 kids, thank God, here in the neighborhood about the permutations in Abalafia. So it's picking up. We're getting a lot of interest.
It's just incredible. I mean, you're talking about something that you discovered, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's incredible because I had a sixth sense that what I had found so far up until age 42 or 43 wasn't exactly the spark I was looking for. And I thought, okay, well, that's just part of always seeking through life. But to really find Abalafi and go, aha, wow. And then to bring it to other people, go, oh, aha, that really feels great to me. It has been an incredible bracha.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It sounds comparable, at least in my mind, to what my friend Dave Pitcher did with his New Testament Midrash. Did I discuss that with you? Did I ever
No,
mention
interesting.
it? Yeah, I got a lot of things up my sleeve, even though they're short sleeves. Um, this friend of mine, his name is Dave Pitcher. He was some kind of a surgeon. I'm not sure what kind. And he recently retired. But for years before he retired, he was an autodidact studier. Now that he's retired, he's going for his doctorate in Bible studies or something like that.
Wow.
But for decades, he's been doing studying,
Mm-hmm.
and he discovered he's a Christian guy. He
Yeah.
discovered from what from where he sees that there is a mapping between each New Testament book, not each one, but the ones that he looked into, and a specific Old Testament book, that there is like a hint, a a hidden connection that to the modern reader is hidden,
Mm.
but to the listener or to the acceptor, the audience, the original audience that the New Testament book was intended for, they would immediately pick up on those
Mm.
hints and uh, whatever hints.
Yeah.
So that's something that he
Illusions.
discovered that he's nobody ever he sees that nobody ever saw before.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I think having a chidush, we could tell your audience a new thought. I mean, is one of the greatest things in Torah study. So if someone on the Christian side can see the remez, the illusions of how the Torah, was the basis for the first Christians, that kind of discovery is amazing. And I,
Of
and I think it
course,
makes sense. I mean, they originally were Jews that felt that
exactly,
direction.
exactly.
Yeah.
Uh, so anyway, that the website that we developed, I heard him talking about this, and I said, "Listen, I'll tell you the truth. The New Testament stuff doesn't make my eyes jump up, but this kind of connection, and the way that I see that it excites you so much, I'm happy to help you to develop it." So ultimately, what we decided on, what we agreed upon, is that we would create an institute of midrashic studies of the New Testament, this kind of mapping, I would call it, because that is one of the kinds of midrash activation. In other words, if you see one word in a certain text and you map it to a similar word or an identical word in a different text, and then you start fleshing it out, fluffing it out.
Yeah.
And you say, wow, this works so nicely. That is one kind of a midrash. And so that's what he was excited to call it. I said, okay, let's check it out. So what we're doing is we are recruiting students, people in their first going for their bachelor's degree or their master's degree or something like that. And he is teaching them the system that he discovered.
Wow.
In order for hopefully, and one of them will really get it, and then he'll start teaching it. And because my friend, I think he's in his 70s already. So,
right. So I have a question for you. Yeah. So this is interesting to me because I as you said, like I'm not studying the New Testament, but I appreciate my Christian neighbors. But for you, you're walking like an interesting line of what is it that you see the value of for the Orthodox Jewish community, the Jewish community, and then for the Christian community?
I think I missed a subject in that sentence.
What is the value? Like what do you see? Does it make a bigger bond between the Jewish and Christian community to help this type of study? Do you see like your friendship developing with other people when you help them study their original sources of Judaism?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Whenever you do something that both people enjoy, then you're building a relationship, building a friendship. And again, I don't know that I would be able to defend Dr. Pitcher's thesis towards my Orthodox friends. Right. Having engaged with Christian friends for over a decade now, very deeply, I'm in a space that most of my Jewish, well, I mean, not most, but certainly many and probably most of my Jewish friends will look at me and say, what the heck are you doing? It's I don't want to start bringing in metaphors, but it's something that we had, what are you juggling that fire for? It's fire. You're not supposed to play with fire, So I guess that's what I'm saying. I have that reaction, but I also have the reaction of admiring all the bridges you're building. I have the reaction of I don't know if we should be doing New Testament midrash, but I also have the feeling of wow, you're making this great bridge and you're enhancing and enriching their lives, and they're getting closer to understanding the true source of the Torah. And I don't mean like anything outside that's false. I just mean the source of the Torah. Yeah, well, authentic is the word that I like.
Okay, yeah, authentic. So I have both feelings. I have a feeling of I wouldn't do that, but I also have a feeling of that's amazing. You're adding that value to your life and their lives.
Look, Dr. Pitcher said this is great. It's going to be a bridge, and the fact that it's a midrash, then maybe Christian Jews will say, "Oh, this is interesting," and they'll get more into the New Testament. I said, "Listen, don't bet on that."
That's my concern. Okay, yeah,
that's not my concern.
Right.
It's what he's doing is quite esoteric,
right?
And I like you might have heard of the biblical codes. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's something that a lot of people get into, and it can be very interesting. But most people they say, "Oh, that's nice," because what he does, he basically color codes stuff, and he says, "Oh, you see how many times green appears in both of these?" And he's talking about the Greek New Testament,
right.
And the Septuagint,
right?
So like
very esoteric. No, I mean not my concern that people would actually go for it in our community. Just that might have been one of the goals of the doctor. But as long as you said to him, that's not going to be happening. It's a very interesting thing for me to set boundaries and build bridges. Like this is our island, that's your island. We're going to build a bridge, but don't ask people to walk over.
Well, look, I think that I find myself making these recordings that go out there. I'm a pretty transparent guy,
Yes.
but in stuff that I would really, this is what I think, but don't, between you and me, like that. But here I am on YouTube. I think that the development of mostly of the state of Israel is what is enabling this kind of freedom.
Yes.
Because the state of Israel, the development of the state of Israel, the establishment of the state of Israel, and the strengthening, the thriving of the state of Israel gives Jews a much stronger a sense of self.
Yes.
And sense of confidence, and not just because there's this my big brother behind me, is I can start fight, but really that big brother is me right now. I'm
yes,
not
absolutely.
in order to fight with people, but I don't have to be worried that I'm going to get beaten up because I have the content and again, I'm not talking about physical thing, but of course that is a big
spiritual and physical
part of it. But if
yes.
it's spiritual and I not identical, but identity wise.
Yes. Well,
my identity. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
My identity as a Jew, and is so much more robust in that I'm living in a Jewish state with a Jewish nation, and it's something to be very proud of. When the Israelis go and save people from sort of Filipino earthquake or stuff like that, Haiti and something, and the fact that we are creating Nobel the Israel Prize in Jewish studies and one of the top, again, I'm not sure that everybody agrees with this, but I think that one of the top scholars in the New Testament is none other than David Flusser of blessed memory, who was an Orthodox Jew, is a professor at Hebrew University. So, you name it, we're on top of this. We got it.
No, you're absolutely right. It's a sign of strength. You're working from a position of strength to say, you can do the institute, you can enrich your lives. No, we're not going to be influenced by it to start studying it, but I do want to help you. It's a very big sign of strength to say, I can help you, but I can't go any further than this. And I think we're in the same boat because that's what I've loved about. And I think people think I go to Sikh temples. Now, and your listeners should know, in a Sikh temple, there are no pictures and there are no idols. They're pure monotheists. But still, people look at me and say, "You're going to a Sikh temple?" And I said, Rambam had no problem. Maimonides had no problem with Jews davening in a mosque, praying in a mosque. There's no iconographia. I don't know what the word is. There's no idols. There's no pictures. So I go to Sikh temples. But I guess for me, that's why I do the Universal Language Project, because I can just sit with them and say, here's 4 notes. What are your 4 notes? And there's nothing to disagree with. So we end up praying together. But I'm really intrigued by what you're doing for the fact of you're saying, oh, someone came to me with a project. You didn't just say no. Someone came to you with a project and you said, I can go this far with you and I can support you, but I can't go this far. I find that amazing.
Well, you're adding the "I can't go this far" to what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying you can't go this far in terms of you're not going to start reading the New Testament and having other people read the New Testament because of this project.
No, I'm at this point, I'm not encouraging Jews. Let's go, everybody. Let's add the New Testament to the yeshiva itinerary agenda. No. And if somebody would come up to me and say, Gidon, I'm reading the New Testament, what do you think? I wouldn't say, you're crazy, you're not allowed to do that. Individually.
Right.
And everything's individually. My point is that I'm here to provide a resource, an authentic Jewish resource for individual Christians. Ultimately, it all comes down to the individual who are interested in such a resource and a relationship with an authentic Israeli Jew, for those people who dare to establish such a relationship.
No,
it's mostly me and any other of my friends who are available also.
I think it's just great because I think if folks in my audience are listening and they know that we're heading up the Memphis Friends of Israel, we're having a Christian Jewish dialogue, I think they want to hear from me, what's your take on this? And of course, everyone's free to form their own opinion, but I studied a lot of New Testament, Quran, and all the stuff in college, and it's very enlightening, the study of religion, So, I think that for me, it's an art form, I would say, of how does the Jew interact with fellow believers in God. And I think you're really giving a really great model.
I like to say that I have a very strong red line, and that is I'm not willing to talk to somebody who I think is going to kill me while we're talking.
Pretty rational red line. Yeah.
And everything else is okay. Now, a lot of Jews, and it's a logical thought that listen, you never know what's going to happen. If you start being open, then you can get onto that slippery slope, and you get to a place where you're not allowed to, or that you don't want to go now, but by that time you're going to want to go there. That makes sense.
That's a good point.
But I'm already. This weekend is my 60th birthday, and I've gotten to where I am now. And again, I believe it's what God is putting into my heart to do.
Yes. Well, we're 95% on the same page of, and I go to a Sikh temple. And my first Sikh temple I went to in Queens, New York, and I said, Sat Sri Akal Ji, which means God's the true one. And they said, oh, Sat Sri Akal Ji. So they said, what are you doing here? And I said, I want to learn more, and could I speak to the president of the Gurudwara here? And they said, yes, you could. I'm like, oh, and now we're not talking about a small place. This is Queens, New York. This is one of the big. And the president came down, Mr. Singh, I think it was Mohinder Singh, if I remember correctly. Anyways, briefly, we went up to his office, and he sat down. We sat on the floor. He said, what can I help you with? And I said, well, I'm studying a lot of religion. I'm in rabbinical school, but I want some way to interact with you about the one God. But, most people want to convert me, or they want to, bring me into their groups, because as Jews, we're very, very reticent to get involved with other groups. He said, this is what I know. You're my brother. I'm your brother. There's one creator created all of us. And we don't want you to be a Sikh. You should be a Jew. That's your religion. Why would you want to be me? And I said, well, this is the first time I've ever heard it. I'm 24 years old, that I've ever heard someone of devout faith say that to me. He goes, that's the problem.
That is just amazing. I mean, I know how to spell Sikh, but who knows more, because we're so into this Judeo-Christian tradition or whatever. And all of these non-Jewish, Christian, and Muslim, and barely Muslim religions are like, oh, they're just they're barely footnotes, Oh yeah, they're what? What are you talking about? It's so big. Sikhism and Jainism and who knows?
And
I don't know any of it. Baha'i.
I've spent time with Baha'i. I spent time with Baha'i and Sikhs, not much with Jain, a little bit with Jain. I even met a high priest of Zoroastrianism. But my real deep connections to the Sikh people, and I learned Punjabi. I learned some of their songs. I learned some of their language because they said there's one God. We're all part of this one family, and we want you to be a Jew. It'd be strange for you to become a Sikh. We don't have some type of truth that you need to adopt. And I said, this is the way it should be. It should be. They
don't have any sort of conversion type of thing. It's all natural.
No. I mean, like us, we say to people, you don't really want to be a Jew. You'll be fine in the way you are. But if someone insists, they'll allow them to convert and take on the loyalty and become. Wow. But their first statement to me, even though I learned Punjabi and I sang, here's what happened. They said, you're very interested in who we are and you're a musician. We'd like you to learn our holy songs. And I said, I can't do that. We don't do that. And they said, well, why not? And I said, well, because we don't sing about other people's faiths, And I said, well, show me what it says. So they showed me the song and it said, there is one God. You should be a good person. Love your neighbor. It was a song that said that. I said, well, that I agree with. So I said, I would be comfortable to sing that in your services. So it was me and a Baha'i singing in Sikh services. There's one God and we're all family. We sang in Punjabi. So I finished and I came off to sit with the audience, and a person came up to me and they said, I have a question for you. And I said, oh, here we go. This is where they say, don't you want to become a Sikh? Here we go. And she said to me, why is your Punjabi better than ours? And she started cracking up. It was like this really nice compliment that I sounded like I spoke Punjabi growing up. And I'm like, oh, it's so sweet. And I really felt like I saw a vision of the future where practitioners of the one God would give up this game of pulling at each other and who's got the truth and who's got this and that. And they would just say, you're my brother or sister, and there's one creator for all of us. It was such a beautiful vision.
Wow. That's amazing.
So that's why I love what you're doing. And I love on this call, I can express my reticence to study New Testament, but I also can tell you how much I love the bridges you're building and the way you're going about it. I have great admiration for that. Yeah.
Again, it's really a question of building bridges of friendship and being and having that confidence. Again, according to maybe even mainstream tradition in Judaism, you want to keep your distance and don't read what we call Sfarim Chitzoniim, external texts.
Right.
But for people with a more a modern openness to academic study, I'm studying it academically. I can study about Japanese history of Japanese paper folding, but I can't study the most important text of the major culture in the Western world. I mean, okay, listen. If I read the word Jesus, am I gonna get burned or something like that? So some people think so, and some people feel so without even thinking about it. But again, it's a question of confidence. And again, I'm not encouraging Jews to read the New Testament.
That was the biggest part that you said. That this was your personal way to build bridges. This is not a rule for everyone else. I mean, I think that's very.
My vision for Root Source is one that includes many more Jews with this confidence that and I have to tell you, there are plenty of Jews who have read the New Testament. Like I said, there's some who have doctorates and professorates in the New Testament.
Yes,
but they're mostly interested in having a relationship, a respectful relationship with others in order to build bridges. That's it.
I think Hashem could be looking down saying, you can handle this. You can handle
this. You got this. Hold my beer.
Yeah, I really do. And I think if God Almighty selected the chosen people to have the confidence to go to other people and say, you believe in God, this is how we do it. But if this strengthens you, here's how I can support you strengthening your faith in God.
We have to do that. I think that is our mandate. We've had a few thousand years of being what we say in Hebrew, yeled kafot, the one that everybody likes to slap. Yes. So we're looking down like this. No, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. But there are many. Most of my Jewish friends aren't in that space anymore. At least in most of their life, and this kind of thing, they have to say, wait a second, are we allowed to do that? And then I envision them saying, of course we're allowed to do that, and we are mandated to do that. We are commanded to do that.
Look, these Christian Jewish prayer dinners that we had up in Memphis, they're so inspiring, and people come have that reticence. Should we really be doing this? And they come out smiling, beaming, shaking everyone's hands, and right. It is. I mean, I think it's the ultimate plan that people would worship the one God and see the unity, humanity of all of us. And something took a weird turn where it was, if you believe in one God this way, you're going to Gehenna. I mean, weird stuff came into the whole monotheistic project. It's supposed to be, when you look at another human, you see a brother or a sister, and you could say cousin, like you could say like the Jewish people, brother or sister, and their cousins, however you want to frame it. But it wasn't supposed to be my team, your team.
It's a little hard for me to nod my head vigorously to that, because my understanding of Judaism as it is today has a lot of ingredients that came from times that Jews were much more reticent, as you said,
Yes.
and the Bible itself it spends much more time on describing the Jewish lifestyle. I'll use the word Jewish, the lifestyle of the Jewish people, and the history of the Jewish people, which is mostly, to give a number, 80-90% in the whole Bible, a separate nation, and not one that is there in order to engage. The most famous verse, of course, in the Bible that describes this is Hen Am Levadad Yishkon, a nation that dwells alone. It's in the parsha of Balak. I believe that's in Numbers somewhere. Yes. So the modern Jews, modern, i.e. for the past 2,000 years or more, have said, yeah, that is our rallying call. We're supposed to be separate, a nation that dwells alone.
Right.
But again, it's the Jewish state that is starting to say, wait a second, maybe you can put that flag down and say, let's do stuff together.
I would say do both. I would say do both. You got to dwell alone to be a light into the nation. Or Lagoyim comes from living separate. We have to do our separate, unique avoda to Hashem to spread the light. So I agree. You have to be. I'm an Orthodox Jew. I live in my neighborhood. But 10% of the time, 5% of the time, I'm meeting with Sikhs or Baha'is or Christians. But you're right. I think you have to live alone. We have to study our Gemara and Chumash. But we have to go out. It's not
something that is going to change overnight.
Right.
I'm pushing the envelope. I'm scratching at the wall that we've had for thousands of years. No, I'm not going to put a battering ram to that wall. I'm just
chip away. Le'at. Yeah. Very good.
Talking about Lat, this little by little meeting has gone fast, and it's already been a nice half hour. Two things I'm going. First of all, we're going to be meeting in about a month. We meet in about monthly. My oh my.
Yep.
Let me check out the schedule of that.
And I might need to jump off just a little early. Got to go into my 9 o'clock here.
That's in 2 minutes. Okay, so the next time I see, we are scheduled for Sukkot. So maybe we'll be able to meet then. If not, then maybe we'll push it off. Then after Sukkot, I'm going to the States. What I'd love for you, as I emailed you, is as soon as you can, send me information about that October event that you guys are doing.
I got the flyer yesterday. I'm going to send it over to you. It's coming over. Got the flyer. Yes.
Okie dokie. Nice talking to you.
Great discussion. Thank you.
I, of course, will send you this meeting that we have so that you could share it with your friends as well. Put it on your website or something like that.
I'm going to do it. Wonderful.